Thank you for staying with us. Today on Your View, we join the rest of the world to mark the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, a day that hits very close to home for us in Nigeria. A new UN Women and UNODC report reveals a heartbreaking truth. 85,000 women and girls are intentionally killed globally in 2023, and Africa recorded the highest rate. Every 10 minutes, somewhere in the world, a woman or girl loses her life at the hands of someone who should have protected her, often a partner or a family member. And when we look at our own country, Nigeria, these global numbers stop being statistics. They become names. They become stories we know. They become women whose faces we recognize from domestic abuse cases, intimate partner killings, acid attacks, ritual killings, sexually motivated murders, child bride deaths, and gender-based violence in conflict zones. Violence against women in Nigeria is not just a crisis, it is an everyday reality. Today, we ask on Your View, why are Nigerian women still unsafe in their own homes? Why do intimate partners and family members, people meant to love and protect, become the greatest threats? And we'd like for you, of course, to call us, join the conversation on 020-163-52013 or 0902-416-3440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect using the hashtag YourView on TVC. We're also streaming on YouTube. Ladies, when you hear these numbers, you know, the numbers are staggering. Yes, we may have someone that we know or somebody that knows someone that we've heard, but to see how that these killings are done on such a large scale. And we're talking of especially those that love you, those that are meant to protect you, people that know you are the ones causing these murders. How does this make you feel, first of all?
So, violence against women has always been from time immemorial, and it's widespread. And, you know, when we look at it internationally, we see the numbers, and sometimes because we are always fixated on the numbers, we don't really think they are human beings anymore. We forget that the numbers, 30%, 20%, 25%, are actually people's sisters, people's mothers, people's friends, people's intimate partners. These are people that we have to connect to at some point. But, you know, like last year I was in Geneva at the UN, and we're discussing global action, local impact. I decided to, you know, bring it home, because when we sit down and do international, it seems like it's far-fetched. When you bring it home, you see the data in Nigeria. Nigeria is our home. And I saw that according to the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, 31% of Nigerian women aged 15 to 49 say they have experienced physical violence, you know, and 28 reported having suffered sexual violence at some point. Now, overall, about 30% of women in that age range have experienced physical or sexual violence at some point from their intimate people, family members, and all of that. And it's not limited to physical violence. We have emotional, we have, you know, psychological abuses. They're all nationwide. There's also economic they join. And according to a recent study, they said the National Demographic and Health Survey, it showed that 1/3, which is 33.6% of ever partnered women, reported emotional abuse. Now, they said many of the cases are not reported. Many of the survivors don't find a way to reintegrate into society. And that's largely because I'm talking local now, largely because our culture is skewed in such a way that women are shamed and stigmatized when they come out. Now, let me give you a quick example. The very first job I did after I left NYSC was working with Project Alert on violence against women. It's a non-governmental organization. That's why I'm calling them out. And their work was basically to help women who have been in abusive relationships regain themselves. If your husband is beating you, they come with the van, they rescue you, and they take you to a shelter. They were running a shelter at the time. And what they found out was that after a few days or a few weeks, the person would decide to run back home. Husband is now calling to beg with relatives, family members because of the children. They run back. And in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, there's another beating that has happened. The woman calls the agency again, they run and rescue you, put you in a shelter, and they run back. And she was asking, why are these women running back to these same abuses? Because now church members are calling, no, you're not supposed to leave your husband's house. There's stigma. Why are you leaving your children with? So those cultural nuances sort of affect why we still largely have, you know, the issue of GBV, which is gender-based violence, in our community. And that's why this talk is very, very important. That's why your view is also very, very important, because we sit here and we spotlight these issues and educate people that we have to move away from deliberately killing women over whether it's domestic abuse, whether it's femicide, whatever I want to call it. We can actually live and have a whole sane society without resorting to violence against one another. Let me leave it here for now.
Yeah.
There's more data coming.
Okay, so
85,000 women.
Yep.
it's huge.
Intentionally killed, that's
Yes.
what we're saying,
It's
by
huge.
intimate partners and
It's
family
huge.
members.
It's huge. And so when we call it a culture, we then excuse it as a way of the people. So violence is violence. It's a negative thing. It's not culture. What it is the consequence of our silence in the face of that evil or the injustice that it is. So imagine that you have a boy and a girl in a home. And whenever, as a parent, you cannot separate yourself from the gender of the child whenever the injustice is done, you say, be patient with your brother, you know it's a boy. And then the abuses stem from there. The boy then grows into a husband, and that silence continues to follow in the inequality of both genders, of the boy and the girl. The silence in the face of that is the consequence of that. Violence is the consequence of that silence in the face of the inequality against a girl. It's also the lack of accountability on the part of parents or society to hold the other gender to account. And so we get here and then we say it's culture. There's also the one we call, when you were talking, I said ad economic. So one of the violence against women that is economic is the denial of their earnings or the right to earn. And it is a control. It's used, this woman, I be like, say, too smart. Just knack and belly, 9 months, in go, they busy, when they nurse baby. And women are made to say, you have to make that sacrifice. You are the one, you have to grow the family. It is okay. It is laudable when it is a willing thing from a woman, and it is supported, because what it's supposed to be is that because you're doing that one thing, every other thing is provided, but not in the midst of that thing and other injustices of abuses, other forms of abuses coming, and the woman is supposed to be made to stay. So because of the lack of means, you cannot escape an abuse. So that economic one is huge, and a lot of women suffer it. Yeah. Also the societal one, where you see cultural practices of, call the woman, do the woman, circumcise the woman, bait the corpse, test the innocence of the woman. Yeah. Women, they die. Now only for Eastern culture, I know, say man, they sleep with the body of a woman where maybe they suspect abuse. In other general cultures, it's the other way. And so it continues like that. There are different forms of it that has continued to curtail women. So when you're limited like that, you cannot lift yourself. Eventually, even if it is not a direct harm to you that causes that death, some women, just end it by overdose. And we've seen that. I'm not taking this from an African point of view. In Europe and America, the overdosage of women leading to this true suicide is huge, and the data is public. We will go to Asia and see where it is culturally a thing of honor to a family. I've never seen where it is the honor of the family to kill the boy. It is the honor of the family to kill the girl.
Yeah.
Amaka,
please, your initial thoughts.
Yes, so Nima and the BC, they've pointed out the external factors, right? So let me bring it to the internal factors, which is you as a person, as a woman. And I think I can pinpoint 2 factors that are glaring to me. One is emotions, our emotions as women. And then the second one is our choices, the right to our choices. Okay. And our choices can be influenced by our environment, upbringing, the cultural things, environment to find ourselves. But basically, upbringing and trauma, because I always say it on this table that Nigerians, we have a lot of trauma, carrying a lot of trauma from our upbringing. Sure. And nobody is talking about it, and nobody is even if some people have started talking about it, there are no solutions to this trauma that we all carry. We need therapy.
Yeah.
And when someone is traumatized, where do they go to? Their safe, where they assume is their safe space. And your safe space is supposed to be your home, your partner.
Yeah.
And when you're not suffering abuse, domestic abuse in your safe space, you don't have any other place to run to.
Yeah.
So even when you run out, it's like a cycle, because there's a mental issue going on. There's a problem going on. So you find out that you keep running back. Your mind keeps telling you that the safe space is that abusive
Abuse, yeah.
space. Yes,
Trauma
and
bonding.
yeah, just trauma
Trauma
bonding, and then you just keep going back. So let's put that aside. Then we'll talk about emotions. We women were emotional beings, right? And they find out that in relationships, usually it's the woman's emotional love that most times holds the home. And because we're emotional beings, and when we love somebody, we make excuses. And that's why you see there is women that are actually raising these kidnappers, raising terrorists, because women, because of our emotional state of mind, we tend to condone bad behavior because
Hampering.
because of that emotional state, that love, right?
Okay.
And so when you have your partner who is supposed to be your safe space, that it's meting out the abuse, you find that you sit down and you make excuse for his bad behavior. Maybe he had a bad day at work. Maybe money used to be there, but now money, or maybe I did something.
it's what
And you
I
know,
said.
so the emotions
We're trying
and
to
choices,
rationalize the
rationalize
violence
it. So
against
you know,
us.
it's easy to just say external factors. We also need to start taking responsibility too as women, even though we're the ones suffering that, to be able to take ourselves from those situations.
Okay, ladies, let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue looking at this topic. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thank you for staying with us. We're still marking the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. And, you know, ladies, we started a conversation. I said, look at the numbers. How, you know, 85,000 women are intentionally killed. I'm not talking of all the other ways that women are killed or reasons, but intentionally killed by their intimate partners or family members. In fact, it says every 10 minutes somewhere in the world, a woman or girl is being killed. I mean, how does that feel to hear the numbers? I know how, you know, BC was saying about statistics, that sometimes it makes you forget the face, but sometimes I feel statistics also show you how far-reaching a problem is. You know, sometimes you think it's happening just with my family or just someone I know or somebody down the street, but
So
85,000 women.
It's easy to think that these are just numbers, and even, you know, but if you've had a close experience, I shared it when we took this International Day back in the days, in the early days of Your View, about my neighbor. Let me not even say the part of Nigeria she's from, who was shamed into getting married. She had to pay for her wedding. She had to do everything. And she had to carry the burden of that marriage. And she was strangled to death by her husband in front of her 4-year-old twins. And fortunately, she belongs to the Catholic Church, and the women of the Catholic Church are taking it up and ensured that Lagos State prosecuted the man, because it happened here in Lagos. And, you know, he finally was convicted to, you know, to life sentence. But that was one up-close example that I had to witness as a young girl. And I remember how it was. So you see why we had to build up to what pressure women have to face. If this woman had just been given the freedom to accept, you know, being single and honorably live it, as opposed to, you know, she wanted the marriage. And so one of the things that we saw during the years of abuse before the murder was that he would always say, you know, you came to me. I did you a thing of favor, get me. And what led to the murder was that he was now, you know, raping the young maids she needed to keep her babies. And every girl that came, so one night she just said, this guy is too young. I promised her parents I'll send her to school. This is not what I promised her parents. And because he had asked for money before, that led to that. So we enable a lot of things by, you know, demanding and pressuring women. And if we do not discuss that build-up, we would sometimes just, you know, assume it was a one-off thing. Most of the time, when a woman is, there's a power imbalance in the relationship where the woman can't even demand, or she doesn't feel free to go. She will be forced to stay in a situation that can cost her life. And most cases, it has cost women's lives like this. like this example I have, and maybe most of the examples we have. We also have where young men think, oh, it's because of your beauty that you want this freedom. And what I don't know the wiring that makes you think, oh, I will pour acid on her,
And redesign
or I would kill her in her home. She might just be sleeping and she doesn't wake up. That's not to even talk about the number of pillow snuffing that women had to suffer without,
you kidding me?
Yeah. So if you look at the examples in the statistics, a home is supposed to be your safe space.
Yeah.
And it is not even, I always say it, sometimes your choices, but sometimes not your choices. Just a badly, an unaccountable individual that you end up with. Because even in marriage, society enables, they can enable a power imbalance by, enabling a gender where the woman cannot find a place, cannot, I don't understand how we do this, but we have to start to look at it, for instance, what society does that have violence to women. A young girl has to establish her virginity. A young girl also have to be sexually deprived by circumcision so that she does not
Lose her virginity.
Well, she doesn't lose her virginity, but it is done by some other gender, and we are not talking of that. Talking into marriage, a lot of other cultural traditions, when we do our burial, we focus so much on this gender, we pressure the gender. And so you will see the advocates of girl child and girl child's rights and all of that. They know these different dimensions that, pressure women, and they emphasize it. It will seem as if we on the torchlight and we ignore the boy child. As much as I acknowledge that there's boy child abuse and there's a boy child's rights, the pressure on women and the dimensions are much more, and society cannot pretend not to know that.
When you hear of this intentional killing, you just shudder.
Yeah.
And it's so scary that, so actually they are more than 85,000, let's just use the numbers now, men, psychopaths out there. I want to look at it from the other perspective, right? That's scary.
It is.
And then who are these 85,000 psychopaths? What kind of sons are they raising?
Oh, deeper question.
Do you understand? What kind of brothers do they have? What mother raised them? So that means they are not just the only they might not just be the only psychopaths in their family. If there are three boys or two boys, there are 2 or 3 boys. If they have kids, so you see the cycle just continues. It's scary, and that's why you see there's so much happening in society. And that's why when I see things happen, they say someone is a murderer, someone did this, I'll say, they have family. The mother prayed for them and bettered them and raised them. Like, how? Do you understand? It's scary. Yeah. And then it now lets you wonder, like, what kind of people are we choosing to? Because let me tell you the truth, there are psychopaths that can pretend and narcissists that can pretend, right? But there are also people that when you're dating them or married to them, the red flags are there. There are some people that they don't pretend to be any other thing but who they are. And I always say, when someone shows you who they are or tells you who they are, please believe them.
Please believe them.
Believe them and be strong enough to take off. Because someone that talks down on you, slaps you anyhow, threatens you, as it's leading up to something. It must get, and that place that it's leading up to, it must get there. That's human nature and human behavior. So at the end of the day, who are we? I said, okay, people pretend. But when the person stops, nobody just wakes up one day from being a kind guy, from being a nice guy. You just wake up one day, die. We know we have instances where the nice guy, good guy, then maybe one day there was a fight and then mistake. Someone pushes somebody and the person falls down and hits their head. Mistakes happen. We're not talking about those, but we're talking about people that intentionally planned and carried it out. It's sad.
Thank you, Amaka. Before I get to you, let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with our conversation. Stay with us.